Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well, thank you for joining me. You know, this video, I want to go back to talking about finances, personal finances, namely our bills. Now what I want to concentrate on is the council tax. You know, the internet right now is getting full up with all sorts of, we'll call them experts, coming out of the woodwork and saying that we shouldn't pay it, it's illegal, and we have no obligation to pay it under contract law and various other things. And then you have people like the black belt barrister coming out saying it's complete poppycock, we need to ignore everyone else for fear of getting ourselves into a lot of trouble. Well, I'm starting to wonder if there might be something in all this. I'm having a little bit of a disagreement with my council over council tax, and I've started asking questions. I've started disappearing down a few rabbit holes, we'll call them, and I want answers, and I think us English lot deserve answers, and we need to work out whether we're being completely and utterly blindsided and ripped off, and have been for at least the last 30 or 40 years. Now, council tax has been a thing since the 90s. Everybody that's old enough, including me, remembers the poll tax riots and the fact that we're not paying this. I mean, I remember I was about 12 or 13 at the time, and a very worried mother, wondering how we were going to make ends meet, and obviously we ended up with a council tax. And like good people, you know, law-abiding citizens, we do what our local authority says, and we pay the bills we're asked to pay, no questions asked. And you all know that we get well, it's a demand for payment at the end of the day, isn't it? We get a demand, and it lists everywhere the council tax apparently is being distributed to all of the local services. And I've seen plenty of information out there which states that it's not going to where they're claiming it is. Well, isn't that obtaining money by deception straight off? Isn't that fraud by misrepresentation straight off? You've got to wonder. Well, let's look at the liability process, shall we? You don't pay your council tax, what happens? They start getting shirty, they start asking questions, and they start saying, well, you're going to pay or we're going to take you to court. Oh, really? Okay, well, I've personally seen a Freedom of Information request sent back from the Ministry of Justice, which says that any liability order issued by a council isn't a recognised court document. So does that mean that all their threats and everything is enforceable? Really? I'm not sure about that anymore. You see, there's more questions than answers. I'm not telling everybody to not. I'm not telling anybody any different. I'm just putting out there what I've found, the questions I have, and really what needs to be said. The other thing as well, when it goes to court, how many potential people are being dealt with in one hearing? Is it 1? Is it 10? Is it 500? How is that fair? I know it's been spoken about before, but, you know, I'm entitled to speak about it now. Now, what's brought all this about is that I've been chased by my local council for payments that they're claiming I need to make. And I'm saying, well, I don't need to make them at all. And they've got to the point where they've sent me a liability order. Well, it's not a liability order, it's a summons. And I've said, well, hang on a minute. You're telling me this is true, but I can prove that that is true. Here's my proof, you show me yours. And we've been arguing about this for weeks, and it's got to the point where I've had their summons cancelled because I've shown them that I know how their little game works. And I've asked them a question. I looked up Companies House, and I've seen that my council has got an entry on Company's House. So I think to myself, are they a local authority or are they a company? No one anywhere on YouTube or anywhere else that I've seen has categorically answered that. So I asked them, why are you on Company's House? Are you a local authority or are you something else? Then if you are something else, why are you sending me demands? Again, I have to emphasize, this isn't me trying to preach to anybody. I'm literally asking questions. I have a right to. If you're a company, then things like the Bills of Exchange Act come into play. Things like contract law come into play. All of these things have been enshrined in our law for, well, more years than I care to remember. So why am I getting demands? Why am I not getting invoices? You know what they did? They tried blinding me with legalese, telling me all about wet ink signatures and all of this kind of stuff. That's not what I asked. I said, why do your council have an entry on Company's House? And I bet if you look up on Company's House yourself for your local council, you'll probably more than likely find the same thing. I want to know why. Well, when they didn't answer, I went on to Dun & Bradstreet. Every registered company in this country will have an entry on Dun & Bradstreet. They'll be issued with a DUNS number, D-U-N-S. You never guess what I found. Yes, my local council has a DUNS number. So I went back to them and I rephrased the question. I said, can you please tell me why my local authority, my local council, has an entry on Company's House and also a DUNS number? All indications tell me that you are a trading registered company. Why is that? And do you know what they answered? Zilch. They just said they are a local authority authorised to collect council tax. That's not what I asked. I asked, why do they have an entry on Company's House? Why do they have a DUNS number? Because if it's a case of they're a company, it changes the rules of the game. And I was equally disturbed to note that when I typed my local council's information in, I ended up with probably a dozen different entries for different addresses, different entities of the council, all with DUNS numbers. I'm beginning to think that something doesn't add up here. Something really doesn't add up. And I don't know about you, I want to get to the bottom of it. So I'm going to start asking some more questions. I'm going to start turning over some more stones. And I'm going to make it my mission in life to find out once and for all categorically, are we being had or not? The little bit of information I found, I believe we are. And the problem is, many carry on paying, many feel the long arm of the law, and many aren't brave enough to see where it goes. I want to see where it goes. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know there are many people out there that have had experience with this already, and I've been contacted by some of you. And I think the lid needs blowing off of this once and for all. Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I appreciate all the support, doing really well. Probably not far off 140,000 subscribers. I think probably 3,500 off of that, something like that. Make sure you hit the like button, spread that about. I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.